what's up? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, you're going to learn all about rent-to-rent, how to get a landlord to say yes, how to systemize a rent-to-rent business, and ultimately how to make £8,000 to £12,000 clean profit per month through running a rent-to-rent business. I'm going to be interviewing two of my students who've become extremely successful over the last 18 months or so. So if you enjoy my YouTube channel, please do me a big favor. Help the algorithms out by smashing the like button. Also, if you've got questions or comments throughout this discussion, comment below and we'll do our best to answer your comments and questions. But firstly, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Sammy and Merleen, you guys are killing it.
Thank you.
How long have you been watching Winners on a Wednesday?
I've been watching it for a good, but I would say 18 months or so.
Nice, so pretty much since you started?
Yeah.
Did you think you'd be sat here?
Never.
Really?
I didn't think.
This is never nothing. No. Even on my agenda of actually being here right now, at this point in life, I never thought I would see it happening.
Well done. Well, the reason you guys are on the show, the reason I've asked you to come down, thanks for coming, is because you've obviously partnered together in business. You've been working with me quite closely over the last 18 months. You've built up a rent-to-rent portfolio. You're making £8,000 to £12,000 a month. In fact, did you say the last 12 months you've turned over how much?
350k.
Jeez, absolutely incredible. So I want to really, in this interview, pull out how you've done that, how you guys have partnered up, what your story is, what an average day looks like for you, and really for anyone watching this that wants to get started into property, even if they've not really got much money to start buying houses, how to go about doing that. So firstly, Merleen, why don't you kick off? How did you get into property? Where did this all begin from?
Well, for me, my background, actually, funny enough, in my career was property management, block management.
Right.
And it wasn't a path that I chose. I fell into it because I was started temping as a secretary, working in different companies, and then I landed a job, and it happened to be a block management company. And then my career developed along that field. Right. And at the beginning, I quite enjoyed it, because I was sort of single at home with the parents, so that was fine. But as my circumstances changed, got married and stuff like that, I began to realize that actually I was getting very, very, very unhappy, being stuck in the 9 to 5. Yeah. And so therefore I did actually start looking at other courses and doing like property courses and trying to see if there was a way of, swapping, the day job, getting out of the day job. And then actually as time unfolded, I did dabble a little bit. Bought some property, sold, but I didn't apply it. I was just not applying it very well. Right. And so as time went on, I got sucked back in. I didn't do anything, just got sucked right back into the 9 to 5. And every company that I started to work for, it was getting more and more demanding and I was getting very unhappy. But anyway, fast forward, I was looking at videos and stuff and I came across Samuel Leeds and it was inspirational. And what struck in my mind was a financial freedom challenge. And I've said to myself, I want to do that, but I felt stuck. And then the pandemic happened and then the company that I was working for was restructuring and then I got let go. And so I thought, instead of just going back and working for a 9 to 5, I just took a leap of faith because all that time I was sort of doing the studies, learning. I thought, I'm going to make a go of it, start from scratch, take a leap of faith and just go for it and start building a rent-to-rent portfolio. My strategy actually was to get a few deals first, sell it, get some money and then build a portfolio. That was my strategy. And then I came across Sammy and he said to me, well, actually, why don't you keep your first deal and just build on it? And I thought, okay, let's do this. So
when did you guys meet?
So as Merleen was doing the training with you, she was test product and she had an ad on Gumtree for a property in Wembley, and obviously we'll get the how we actually met when I give about myself. Right. So I was just at a time in life searching for work, and I actually went for a chief executive job because I've always consulted. I've always been really very good at growing businesses and making businesses turn around. So I said, go for it. So I rung and I got through to Merleen. We started chatting on the phone. I said, let's meet, let's have a discussion. So we met. We then started, we done an agreement, went into joint partnership together. We signed the agreement. The following morning was her first viewing. I went with her. I looked around the property and I said, I knew nothing about bricks, water or anything. I said, Merleen, let's keep it. I'll work with you to make it work. We then managed to negotiate 12 weeks rent free off the landlord. Within 2 weeks, the property was repainted and decorated and fully furnished. Merleen had tenants sitting in it from week 2, and the property was making a profit before the rent-free period was even over.
Wow.
Yeah, because I just said, let's go for it full time.
Yeah.
You know, forget about the job.
And
full
at this
time.
point then, so you just gone full time in property.
Yeah.
Not by choice, you'd been made redundant.
Yeah.
You'd hooked up with Sammy. Sammy kind of had a bit of a business background, didn't know lots about property. Obviously, you would just join the academy, which was awesome. So that first rent to rent, where was that? Where was that deal?
In White City.
Okay, cool. So have you still got it today?
Yes.
How much profits it make?
2,900 a month.
Oh my goodness, that's like financial freedom on one deal, pretty much.
Yeah.
So at this point, then presumably you thought, right, we've got a business model here that works. Rent to rent. A lot of people say rent to rent is subletting. It's illegal. It's just like having another job. It's not a proper business. There's loads and loads of downsides. People make it sound too good to be true. It's risky. There's a lot of people that talk about rent to rent that haven't done it. And I'm not saying that it's all positive and it comes with zero risk and zero work. Of course not. But what has been your experience of rent to rent as a business model?
Oh, I think it's great. I think for anyone that wants to work for themselves and have that freedom of actually being able to choose what matters, getting into something like rent to rent, it's about setting it up, having your direct debits for your flow of your bills, having the continuous cash flow coming in, and managing the property every 12 weeks. So that one property after it's set up is flowing for 3 years. If you have good tenants in there, you've got continuous cash flow coming in.
What made you guys decide to partner up and not just do the business alongside each other?
Well, my reason for asking Merle to go into business was because she comes from property corporate background and has 30 years of experience. She's a lot older than myself, so I thought it would be good collaboration. Young, she's very intelligent, and she actually knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
So I made the approach to consult for her, where I seen we could work together and make perfect. So what she's not too strong at, I am strong at, but the two of us together are super glue, and it works perfect.
My background is like corporate, as you said, block management. So I've been in the property game for a long time, but as I said, it was a new area in terms of rent to rent, building a portfolio, because what appealed to me was I could take control of a property and generate cash flow. So my background, because it's been in the corporate background, and Sammy's complements mine because he's from a business point of view, business consultancy, I think that we complement each other, because what I don't have, he has, and what he hasn't got, I've got.
And you know what? Teaming up and joint venturing is so powerful, because there's a saying that says if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
That's it. You can't do it on your own. Believe me, no man is an island, so it's good to team up.
So what made you enroll onto the academy, and what was the process of that? How did that work?
Like I said, what struck me was the financial freedom challenge, and that drew me in. So I saw there was a crash course that was, and at the time I think it was during the lockdown, so it was an online one. Yeah. So I actually joined up on the crash course, and of course after the crash course I've learned so much. That was phenomenal, and then I signed up for the courses along.
Right.
In addition to that,
and this was all online. So you
all
went online,
yeah.
You registered online,
all online.
But then what happened when you enrolled onto the advanced training online?
Well, what happened was it was just amazing, right? Because you sent a message to say, "I'm going to visit one of your homes," but I didn't pay no mind to it. I just thought, I want to get on your courses, and I bought the course, and that was it. I didn't think anything of it, and then I would say about an hour and a half later, the bell rang, and I was on the phone. I think you contacted me as a follow-up. So that's nice. You contacted me to follow up because, I got the course. And then my son came in the room and said, actually, Samuel Leeds is actually outside your front door. I goes, yeah, right. Yeah, right. He goes, no, honestly, he's actually standing outside your door. And I'm like, really? Put the phone down. But I'm just speaking to him on the phone. Walked out. There he was. You were standing there. I'm like, what? And then you handed me the actual course material, right?
Yeah.
And I was so blown away. And I thought, wow, isn't that amazing that, you actually took the time to come to my home, handed me the course material. I said, you know what? This is somebody that I would love to actually continue working with at some point in the future, but also continue learning from.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the thing is as well, I think that online has its place, but I don't think you can beat person to person.
No.
Eyeball to eyeball. So when I saw that you just enrolled onto the academy and we were in lockdown and stuff, and I didn't break any rules coming because I can't remember the exact rules at the time, but technically I was a delivery man, right? Because I was delivering your materials.
At the door.
No different from a postman coming. But you know, we chatted and connected, and you know, at that point you'd just been made redundant, right? And you were kind of like, I need this to work. Okay, so that first property then that you guys teamed up and got, where did it go from there? So you got one property, you got a rent-free period, £2,800 a month profit.
So we then came away from that on that day and driving back, and we said, okay, let's go, we're in it now, let's do it. So
And the yeses were coming through, actually.
I went home, and Merleen obviously.
Because I was doing the
And
groundwork
we done
before.
the campaign blast, and the phone rung within 48 hours after signing that deal. We had a landlord from Slough offering us a 5-bed. So Merleen can go into detail with that property, because that's another story. She took the leap into supported accommodation route with that property. So we took that on. Merleen, obviously, when she was going through the training with yourself, she had touched base with a guy who had a property in Cheshire. So we went to Crewe and we took on a 5-bed there for a low rental, like just in the peak time of the summer for serviced accommodation. So we done a dual. We had rent to rent, so the rents covered the rent of the landlord, and the other 2 rooms would be serviced accommodation, and that would be the profit to us.
That worked really
so
well.
it's like a hybrid.
Yeah. How does that work? Because we always warn people to be careful of mixing tenants and guests, unless the house is very kind of separate. But how you know,
It worked well for some reason. I mean, at the end of the day, it because the tenants, the few tenants that were in there, because of the layout of the house, it's sort of compartmentalized.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and so basically the 2 rooms that we had the guests come through, and the other rooms, the tenants were there, and we let them know what was, you know, they were
But
going to
also,
get.
like, I'll come in on that, obviously, with doing a hybrid. So your tenants that you have there, it's 2 ways you can work at it. So you can give them an incentive to let them know there's people obviously serviced accommodation. You can earn the cleaning fee. You can earn that. So then that gives your tenant the incentive. So his rent then is going to become cheaper.
Right.
So, and then also, obviously, with a lot of clients in the pandemic, today's worker, Samuel, is tomorrow's universal credit claimant.
Yeah.
So, that to me is secure rental income, because it's secured from the government. A lot of landlords out there don't look at people on universal credits. They don't want to work with them or help them, but it's actually a gap for companies. It's taking them rent to secure your money.
It makes sense. I mean, I think we actually, I don't know if you were there in person, we did a serviced accommodation training program recently, and we said if you're going to split and do a mix, we said there's 3 C's you need to do. Number 1 is compartmentalize the house. Yep. Number 2 is clarity, be really clear with the tenants up front so they know what's happening. And then number 3 is cleaners, make sure you've got the right cleaners so that it's sort of systemised. So it sounds like you've done that and knocked it out of the park. How much money did you have to put into this business to start with?
I say I put in 12k.
12k.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put in 0.
So how do you work out when doing here's a question. When doing a joint venture agreement, it's really important that you're bringing equal value, equal risk, equal reward to the table. You put in 12 grand. Now look, it's worked out, right? You guys are making £350,000 a year turnover, but how did you come to the conclusions and talk to me about getting that clarity on your joint venture agreement?
So the first deal, which was that's the joint venture, I've initially started on the first property. So Merleen put the cash equity into that, and I put the sweat equity into that. So
what does that mean, sweat equity?
So he did all the
setting it
renovation,
up, renovated, getting it decorated,
getting all that done,
getting the bed, everything set up.
I didn't get my hands dirty.
Right, yeah.
Merleen walked in 2 weeks later, and it was done.
Right, okay.
So that was my way of getting into the deal, and then also consulting for Merleen moving forward on other deals.
So that's a really interesting point, because for someone watching this that's thinking, oh, I don't have the 12 grand, well, then you can do what Sammy did, which was say, look, I ain't got the 12 grand, or I don't want to put the 12 grand in, but I'll put sweat equity. You put money in, and I'll put time and effort and energy in, and that can be a joint venture. But let's face it, 12 grand, it's not a huge amount of money to put in. considering that now you've
That was stretched over 3 properties, by the way. We
12.
did not just one property. We
Right.
managed to
Plus
actually,
training. Plus
the
training.
train. Yeah.
Wow.
So
In total.
Yeah.
so we managed to sort of budget it down and make it work.
So these fingers
Yeah.
were good in the sweat
Yeah.
equity.
Yeah. Right. So, okay. So £12,000, you stretched that across training, rent to rents. You then started making some money. You put it into more rent to rents, and you just recycled and recycled. How many properties do you have now under control?
We have 11. On 11 that we have full control on, and we have 4 that we have subcontracted out to other people that started the journey, but because they were new, the landlords obviously getting to know credibility and stuff, were happy for us to subcontract it out. So it's then Merleen then is giving the other students support on how to get onto the journey.
So again, it's like again though, man, this is blowing me away because some people say I haven't got the money and I also haven't got the credit. I won't pass the references. It's like, and that's why on the academy, people do business with each other all the time because it's like what you might not have, someone else does have. How can you work together?
Yeah, because at the beginning, that was the barrier. When I first started, I had nothing. And of course, landlords will ask you, what's your track record? What's your history?
Yeah.
So it's just breaking through that barrier. And once you get the first one, you kind of like win them over. You say you offer them a guaranteed rent insurance and stuff like that to get on. And then you build a portfolio. And now I've got a track record. And that's what a lot of people, I realise, had difficulty in doing, is getting that step, getting that track record. So then we can actually help them.
Yes.
And that's what we did. Sub it out
And,
so they can build a...
That makes sense. And I think as well, when you're starting out, your first deal is always your hardest. But once you get the set up and the contracts and the systems and the procedures on your first deal, it's then rolling it out, which you've done. So moving forward, where are you going now? What's the direction of your property business?
Well, developments.
Right.
So obviously through the year one and obviously creating that revenue and also securing the contracts for 3 to 5 years on rent-to-rent agreements, we now know that we have a continuous cash flow coming into the business. So now the next step, because we have now managed to build relationships with our landlord clients who now want to develop, they've got the finances to develop, and we are now on that, we've got the sites to develop. So it's again perfect collaboration for a JV. And we're actually just through the rent-to-rents.
Yeah.
We secured 2 development deals, which one is undergoing now in Wimbledon. We have a conversion from a shed to a 1-bed summer cabin.
Wow.
And we also now in Maidenhead, we have a full renovation of a property and a double rear extension. And 6 months ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you, but scaffolding was till cement.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so you have the offshoots now.
Yeah.
Developing. So I'm really excited in that direction, to be honest.
And what about your hotel?
Oh yeah, that's in the pipeline as well, where one of the landlords has said, look, I'm taking on a hotel I think in Blackpool.
Yep.
So that's sort of like in the pipeline. Once he gets that,
Yeah.
he wants to hand that over to us.
Wow.
So
And
there's
that
a lot
just
of things in
shows
the pipeline.
In 2 years, man. Because that's about how long you guys have been doing this, right?
No, 10 months.
No, less than that.
Less than that.
Yeah.
And the whole training and everything
Yeah.
is 2 years, but actually business-wise,
March
last year.
Wow.
it kicked off just a year.
Yeah.
Incredible. And now doing development deals, buying up buildings.
Serviced accommodation.
Yeah.
We've actually took a rent-to-rent on in Northern Ireland, in Larne, and the landlord client is now looking at a 56-bed and a 36-bed, 2 properties in Northern Ireland that he wants to buy, and then he wants us to work on the sweat equity, on getting it set up, constructions, development, and turning it into 2 hotels. And that's where I come in from too, because in Belfast, voted the best city in the world to go and view, but in 10, 15 years time, the value in that city is going to go up and up.
Is that where you're from? Are you from
Belfast.
Belfast?
Yep.
Amazing.
Yes,
And what about yourself? Where are you from?
Born and raised here, but my family's from the Caribbean, from Grenada.
Amazing.
That's where we're going to retire.
Yeah, I'm actually got another a project that I'm working on in commercial fishing in the Caribbean. So that's the boat is just about to be launched.
Incredible.
So that project.
Yeah.
But you are looking for
so
an investment, an angel investor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just for it to get on the water, because it's almost there.
Yeah.
So once that gets on the water, it will be actually.
But the thing is as well, the same way that you guys did the joint ventures and stuff on the rent-to-rents, it's the same skills on the bigger stuff, because how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's the same, and also the stuff that the lessons that you learn from rent to rent, you can apply to bigger deals. The actual landlords are developers and are now passing you deals. So do you think rent to rent is a good starting point for people to want to get into property?
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. If you cannot get onto the property ladder, because that's the thing, you've got to, it's the deposit and the mortgage. You can make cash flow by just taking control of a property and generating a positive cash flow. That's it. And then you can build that base.
Yeah.
And on the journey, you will develop relationships with the landlords. And a lot of the landlords are portfolio landlords anyway.
Yes.
And once they get the confidence in you, then things open up. And that's what's happening.
What's in it for the landlord? Why would the landlord receive a small monthly rent from you for you then to just make an absolute killing?
I think it's because that it's a relationship, and I think because they can see, for example, in Maidenhead, they can see that they're time poor.
Right.
So at the end of the day, they actually have their confidence is in myself to help them grow their portfolio or help them in their projects. So that's what it is. I think that's what the landlord is.
But then also the landlords every landlord's on their own journey. So they're out doing bigger projects. So they're looking maybe at a single let. Okay, if I'm looking at building at 16 bed, 2-bed flats in Bracknell, why am I going to be so focused on a 1550 single let when I can give that to a management company on an agreement for 3 years? I'm getting guaranteed what I want out of that property. I have no headache. They're going to take care of the maintenance and repairs. There's a landlord insurance in it. So it's a win-win for everyone.
And I think as well, it's about the landlord might not necessarily have the time, but they might also have the knowledge of how to systemise serviced accommodation.
Well, that's perfect. Sorry to stop you there, but perfect what you said, because this particular landlord that we're talking about, every day we speak to him, we're finding he's in another property, but he doesn't know about serviced accommodation. He doesn't know about HMOs. He doesn't know about rent to rent. So that there now,
consulted, isn't it? We're consulting.
Where Merleen has went in and secured that one deal. She's 4 properties off the landlord now. Plus he's got another one. Plus this double rear extension. So that's
because it's ultimately a business, and it's not like some people think, oh, the landlord might just steal the idea and do it himself. But it's like, well, no, because if they don't understand how to systemise it and how to actually run it, it's a business.
Exactly.
It's like saying, why don't everyone just do the hotel business, or because they don't know and understand that business.
And then obviously it's the marketing, like Evivo, like the landlords are thinking still back in the olden days where it's tenant fine fees, or there's that, they're sticking to the old estate agents proper, where when they're meeting now, people, it's serious, giving them the money and working. To me, start the journey now. Don't the reason why I wasn't obviously in work and got onto this, I was actually going through mental health. I was diagnosed with ADHD just 3 months ago. So in the whole process of this, I've actually been getting assessed for ADHD. So even people with disabilities, don't be scared to stand up and take that chance, because you're gifted and you can go out there and make real.
Did you do well in school?
No.
Terrible. Interesting. So it's about...
And I've always been gifted, low, like from 11-year-old, I've always buyed and sell. People in Belfast used to call me Offer Daily, because I would have, when I was 12 years old, I have 7 brothers, 1 sister. My mum and dad would have got us out to pull all the wheelie bins down, and we charged £2. We washed the wheelie bins, took them back, 500 houses, £2 a house, that's £1,000. I was doing that from 12-year-old till selling football t-shirts, to aftershave, to then mentoring young people, to then going on to take on hospitalities, bars and restaurants. It's not making no money, taking them, looking at the business, how can we change it, renting out the rooms. I've took on hotels in Somerset. So it's all been business, but my focus has been going in 6 months, seeing what I can do, and then moving on to help the next business.
And I think it just shows to show the power of, sometimes people say, I can't do this because. And everyone's got a because. It might be, I didn't do good in school, I've got ADHD as well, right? Or it could be, I'm from the wrong kind of background, or I'm the wrong age, or whatever. But actually it's about saying, what have I got going for me? And the things that I haven't, I'll bring someone in as a partner.
Exactly.
That's it. Because he's street smarts, I would say, and I'm sort of book smart. So I'm from the corporate sort of like you know.
What's the process of the academy then? So what's that? I know that was like a year and a half ago now.
Yes.
So.
Well, you know, I've got, like I said, I've got it online, and I do the courses. You know, obviously I'm being very busy, so but I've completed the lease option course. I've completed the deal sourcing extravaganza,
and then deal
funding extravaganza.
Yeah.
So literally, it's been phenomenal, because it's like you're coming to you're actually a personal tutor. Click on the button, and then I just follow through.
What also you liked about obviously the training with Samuel was the mentor and support, that she could always have someone at the other end of the line.
Phenomenal. I think that's what helped me along the way, because the 365, you provide the mentorship every day. I can just book a call and say, look, I'm a bit stuck on this, can you help me with this? And that was it. That really, really helped, because I think that's, like I said, I've been on other property courses, but this was actually unique, because you can actually, someone's at the end of the phone at the whatever topic you want, HMO, lease option, or whatever it is, you can call them, and then they give you the advice. And actually, that was what got me my first deal, tipped it over to get my first deal with regards to credibility, because it was like, I haven't got a track record. However, they suggested the landlord guaranteed rent insurance, and then they took it, and that's how I got my deal. That's how I got it over the line.
So what, you booked a mentor and call and just said to us, hey, I've got this deal, but they're asking me these questions, what do I say?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think it shows the power of, and I know you later went on, you've done some of the training on the development side, but it just shows the power of, you know, I think for me, it's so important to not try and reinvent the wheel, but to find someone that's, because you can't know everything about everything, and you can't be ready, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's obviously been amazing. You were on the E-Academy.
Yes.
You've done the development training. What was it like?
It was amazing. Like that manual handbook, like obviously I just spoke there about not having an education going, but I've always had the knowledge of what I want to learn and think. But that training manual and the way you explain it, and you're upbeat and you're straight up front, this is what it is, like it and do it. But the main thing that stuck for me in that whole thing was the form, FORM. When the way you explained that, and it is that concept that will make you successful. Just find and appraise, offer and know what they offer, raise finance and manage the team. So that to me was a real big benefit for me going on that training.
Because it's easy to think that with property development and these deals, you need to know everything, loads, but you don't. You just need people around you that can. You just need to know basically what you're doing, have a business plan.
And this is people. Like where I believe in like timing and fate and everything happening. And with the development that's happening in Wimbledon, like before that we wouldn't have been, that's the first major development that we're actually project managing, and actually that it's worked successful, and we've now known that we can where to get the cheapest 3 quotes and that full setup and do it within the budget and work with the council. So to me, in the property journey, if you want you can have that 9 to 5 or be stuck in that dead end job where it's routine, where in the property journey something different happens every day. If you laugh or you cry, but you will have something.
Make sure you have fun along the way. We have fun.
What's it feel like being full-time property investors?
Amazing.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal, yes. I mean, I feel I've got out of jail. You know, obviously there's nothing wrong with having a job, but because I've done that for so long, it's just a different feeling. I feel I'm in the driving seat, and it's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
I've always done business and hospitality, and this is the first direction I've went into property, and the cash flow and the money that can come through. And this is just the start of what we can actually achieve. Exactly. Just even coming on today, like the consultancy, and Merleen's got a load of deals ready to go for new people that want to start the journey. We have properties in Essex, we have properties Maidenhead.
How would you say how's life changed as a result of property?
Well, I was living in a house share, a 4-bed house share with three other guys. Within 12 weeks, I moved into one of our rent-to-rents. So I'm living there now with my partner and our 2 children in a 3-bed property. So from going from a house share to that, everything in life, like financially and working with Merleen and investment, is what we're planning in this year. But definitely, I would never look back.
For me, it's actually time and work-life balance. As you might have been aware, for the last, I think, a few months ago, December, I suffered a bereavement, and also I had like illness at home with my husband, and so therefore I was able to take that time off and look after him, and you know, sort of like
And still
grieve.
get paid.
And if I was in a 9 to 5, it would have been difficult for me to sort of take time off work. So it's the flexibility that's the big one for me. I was able to just take a step back, and actually, yeah, I was able to just do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you guys are amazing, and I'm so proud of what you've done and what you've achieved, and excited to what you're going to achieve. What will be, for people watching this, final?
I would say, number one, invest in yourself, get educated, and just take that action and be consistent with the action and have a goal. And that's it. Keep going.
Amazing.
Don't give
Love
up.
it. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you want to connect with Merleen and Sammy, I will leave their details in the description below. Also, if you want to come down to the online or in-person property investors crash course, I'm also going to leave a link in the description for that. And also, every single week for the last 3 years, I've been interviewing people that have become financially free using strategies like deal sourcing, HMOs, rent-to-rents every week. So if you want to see more stories like this, you can check out the entire playlist right here and choose your favorite story. Also, don't forget to come onto the Property Investors Crash Course, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time.